I hope to leave behind a few poems it will be hard to get rid of. If we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane. Lovers, forget your love and list to the love of these. She a window flower, and he a winter breeze. An idea is a feat of association, and the height of it is a good metaphor. Forgive me my nonsense, as I also forgive the nonsense of those that think they talk sense. By working faithfully 8 hours a day, you may eventually get to be boss and work 12 hours a day. A poem begins in delight and ends in wisdom. Something we were withholding made us weak until we found it was ourselves. A jury consists of 12 persons chosen to decide who has the better lawyer. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. My goal in life is to unite my avocation with my vocation, as my two eyes make one in sight. We dance round in a ring and suppose, but the secret sits in the middle and knows. Poetry is about the grief. Politics is about the grievance. More men die of worry than of work, because more men worry than work. Style is less the man than the way a man takes himself. What is done for the love of it, or not really done at all. There never was any heart truly great and generous that was not also tender and compassionate. I write to find out what I didn't know I knew. The difference between a job and a career is the difference between 40 and 60 hours a week. The world is full of willing people, some willing to work, the rest willing to let them. A person will sometimes devote all his life to the development of one part of his body, the wishbone. Poetry is when an emotion has found its thought, and the thought has found words. Live life like it's the last breath you take, for that breath is the whole essence of living. The little things in life are what connects us to all the big things we live for. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out. The brain is a wonderful organ. It starts working the moment you get up in the morning and does not stop until you get into the office. Writing free verse is like playing tennis with the net down. A liberal is a man too broad-minded to take his own side in a quarrel. Have courage and a little willingness to venture and be defeated. How many things have to happen to you before something occurs to you? There is one thing more exasperating than a wife who can cook and won't, and that's a wife who can't cook and will. Being the boss anywhere is lonely. Being a female boss in a world of mostly men is especially so. I still say the only education worth anything is self-education. There is absolutely no reason for being rushed along with the rush. Everybody should be free to go slow. The best things and best people rise out of their separateness. I'm against a homogenized society because I want the cream to rise. The test is always how we treat the poor. A definite purpose, like blinders on a horse, inevitably narrows its possessor's point of view. A bank is a place where they lend you an umbrella in fair weather and ask for it back when it begins to rain. Here are your waters and your watering place. Drink and be whole again beyond confusion. The worst disease which can afflict executives in their work is not, as popularly supposed, alcoholism. It's egotism. Far more violence has been done in obeying the law than in breaking the law. You're always believing ahead of your evidence. What was the evidence I could write a poem? I just believed it. The most creative thing in us is to believe in a thing. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep. The first thing I do in the morning is to make my bed, and while I am making up my bed, I am making up my mind as to what kind of a day I am going to have. Thinking isn't agreeing or disagreeing. That's voting. The best way for a person to have happy thoughts is to count his blessings and not his cash. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. The tree the tempest with a crash of wood throws down in front of us is not to bar our passage to our journey's end for good, but just to ask us who we think we are. The truly educated can listen to any view without losing their temper or self-confidence. Of all crimes, the worst is to steal the glory from the great and brave, even more accursed than to rob the grave. If society fits you comfortably enough, you call it freedom. Keep all your troubles in your own pocket, but make sure that the pocket has a hole. It looked as if a night of dark intent was coming, and not only a night, an age. Someone had better be prepared for rage. The middle of the road is where the white line is, and that's the worst place to drive. The beauty of enmity is insecurity. The beauty of friendship is insecurity. What you want, what you're hanging around in the world waiting for, is for something to occur to you. One of the hardest things in life to accept is a called third strike. Come grow old with me, for the best is yet to come. There are two kinds of teachers, the kind that fill you with so much quail shot that you can't move, and the kind that just gives you a little prod behind and you jump to the skies. No tears in the writer, no tears in the reader. No surprise in the writer, no surprise in the reader. Life is tons of discipline. Your first discipline is your vocabulary, then your grammar and your punctuation. Create and stir other people to create. Home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. Hope is not found in a way out, but a way through. Take care to sell your horse before he dies. The art of life is passing losses on. But I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Half the world is composed of people who have something to say and can't, and the other half who have nothing to say and keep on saying it. An idea comes as near to something for nothing as you can get. I'm not confused. I'm just well mixed. What is required is sight, and insight, then you might add one more, excite. Talking is a hydrant in the yard, and writing is a faucet upstairs in the house. Opening the first takes the pressure off the second. All thought is a feat of association. Having what's in front of you bring up something in your mind that you almost didn't know you knew. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life, it goes on. I hold it to be the inalienable right of anybody to go to hell in his own way. Courage is the human virtue that counts most courage to act on limited knowledge and insufficient evidence. That's all any of us have. Poetry is what is lost in translation. It is also what is lost in interpretation. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. A mother takes 20 years to make a man of her boy, and another woman makes a fool of him in 20 minutes. The ear is the only true writer, and the only true reader. Education doesn't change life much. It just lifts trouble to a higher plane of regard. Meditate nothing. Learn to contemplate. Contemplate glory. There will be a light. Contemplate truth until it burns your eyes out. Tolerance is the uncomfortable feeling that in the end the other could be right. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. You're searching for things that don't exist. I mean beginnings. Ends and beginnings. There are no such things. There are only middles. The reason why worry kills more people than work is that more people worry than work. Let cloud shapes swarm. Let chaos storm. I wait for form. Love is an irresistible desire to be irresistibly desired. Like a piece of ice on a hot stove, the poem must ride on its own melting. You have freedom when you're easy in your harness. The best way out is always through. To be a poet is a condition, not a profession. Nature is always hinting at us. It hints over and over again, and suddenly we take the hint. If you're looking for something to be brave about, consider fine arts. All great things are done for their own sake. You've got to love what's lovable and hate what's hateable. It takes brains to see the difference. The old dog barks backward without getting up. I can remember when he was a pup. Every poem is a momentary stay against the confusion of the world. I'm not a teacher, but an awakener. It's a funny thing that when a man hasn't anything on earth to worry about, he goes off and gets married. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. Heaven gives its glimpses only to those not in position to look too close. Life must be kept up at a great rate in order to absorb any considerable amount of learning.